Patty Jenkins says Warner Brothers wanted her to cut an opening scene in Wonder Woman 1984. Read as proof it's all Jenkins' fault.
And now this article is going to come up, in the hashtag Y for some reason. You do a search for hashtag Y, you're going to find this article. Yeah. So last week I was and in fact, you just reposted that little segment where we were talking about how Wonder Woman 1984 wasn't doing really well. And I said, look, this is pretty much on Patty Jenkins' shoulders. Everyone was singing her praises as director for the first movie. Then they gave her writing. They assumed she had writing ability and let her write this movie too. And now everyone's ripping apart the writing. Just because you're a director doesn't mean you can write. Just because you're a producer does not mean that you can manage Lucasfilm. Just saying. And we've seen this time and time and time again. So I think this is an admission on her part in a way, because in an interview she said, the studio said we had these two completely different scenes in the opening. One, the little girl on Themyscira, cheating in a competition and learning you can't take the easy way in life if you want to win. And then there was this whole thing with stopping the robbery or whatever in the mall in 1984. And everybody is saying neither one of those scenes were really important. They didn't need to be there in a 2.5 hour movie, Well, I have the quote. Okay. Yeah.
It was not always written in. It was the success of the first film, but it was also something else. I think this is Patty Jenkins talking.
Yes.
I wouldn't have jammed it in there because of the success of the film, because it actually made the movie too long. We have two openings in our movie, and we would talk about it with the studio all the time, and they would say, you've got to cut the mall and the 80s, or you've got to cut the Amazon.
Right.
I was like, we can't cut either.
Yeah. And all the people that have seen it and reviewed it since then have said, you didn't need either of them, let alone both of them. And really, I mean, for everyone that has seen it and talked about it, they've said, why did we need either of those? Why did we need the Themyscira scene? Her argument, Patty Jenkins' argument, is we need to tie it back to the first movie.
Oh, yeah, I have that quote as well. You want to hear this? This is a gem, okay? At the end of the day, Jenkins got her way and was able to keep both scenes in the film. Jenkins felt like she needed to keep the Amazon scene in the film as it helps people who aren't particularly up to date in the world of DC Comics. She goes on to say, the reason I ended up realizing that you need the Amazon is because you do that thing where you're like, wait, you have to remember all the people that haven't seen the first Wonder Woman who watched this on a plane, and suddenly it's like, oh, it's super hard to understand who Diana is and what's going on without touching base here. And I have a question here. This is my own personal question. Why are you catering to someone watching your movie on a plane?
Yeah. Hey, dumbass. It's a sequel. If you don't expect that you needed to have seen the first movie before you see the sequel, then you're the dumbass that, saw the movie without seeing. This is what sequels are for. You're capitalizing on the success of the first one. You're writing it for the people that saw the first one. And especially these days, this isn't 1975 where if you didn't see Star Wars, you need an explanation so that you'll understand Empire Strikes Back. Okay. You have it on streaming service. You have it on download. You can buy the damn DVD. And that's what Warner Brothers wants you to do. They want you to spend the money before you go see the second movie.
It's funny. Back to the drawing board has an interesting quote. I wonder if those scenes didn't get cut because they could get away with longer openings because it was going to streaming. And as soon as I saw this comment, I was like, well, why didn't they just save that and add them in as a bonus for you getting it on HBO Max? And I was like, wait a minute, it's going to streaming now. It's like I'm still not accepting the fact that
so back to the drawing board, you make a decent point that is possible. However, I would argue that that's a misunderstanding of your audience. Then I think a lot of people are struggling with it being 2.5 hours because they don't expect one of these. This isn't Endgame. Okay. This isn't some big thing. This is just one-off superhero movie. They don't want it to be more than 2 hours. They got to get up and make their popcorn and go pee and, put the baby to bed. And, we got, especially now that we're in our homes, we got stuff going on. It's like, we just want to watch it and be done with it. We don't want to invest in Gone with the Wind or the 10 Commandments here.
Why are these movies so long? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Because these writers don't know how to write. These directors and editors don't know how to direct and edit. Tell a story, beginning, middle, and done.
I remember.
And if you're going to set up a sequel, set up a sequel. Quit screwing around with your, auteur, artsy crap. This is not, Shakespeare. This is Wonder Woman, for crying out loud. And this is a sequel to Wonder Woman. People saw the first one. And if they didn't, they have every opportunity to see it, especially since it's not like you just bought the tickets and you get halfway into the movie and you go, crap, I don't understand what's happening. Guess what? You can hit pause and then skip over to rent the first one, watch that, and then hit play again.
Well, not only that, if you have HBO Max, this is going to sound like a dumb question. I would assume the first Wonder Woman is on there.
I think so.
Okay, unless that's like a TNT exclusive for $5. I don't know. We'll get to that later anyway.
Calm down, Troy. You're not a young man anymore. Think I'm going to have a grabber? Hey, that could bring us some ratings too. Hey, listen to a guy have a heart attack talking about Wonder Woman. Well, I guess I could have a heart attack talking about Wonder Woman, but it'd be more likely to be about Linda Carter than it is about, anything Patty Jenkins does.
Wolf 10 says, I've been saying this in 2 of my streams. The people are not writers. Yeah, I don't know, man. Well, especially Patty Jenkins. I don't know how much experience she has. I mean, she did Monster, right? That one about the serial killer. I don't know if she wrote that. Of course, that was based on a real story anyway.
Well, that's just it. Again, I'm not saying she can't write. I'm saying she's not ready to write.
Well, I don't think
she needs to take a few classes and get a few other movies out there before she starts thinking she can write. Okay. And that's not because she's a woman. That's because that's how merit works. Okay. You got to pay your dues, and she hasn't yet.
Matthew Flynn says, I'm an okay artist. I think I'm better at small details. I have to say, when I would critique other people's writings, especially in college, it would tend to be going after the small details more than the big picture. So, I mean, that's certainly not a bad thing to do, Matthew.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? I'm trying to think though. What else was brought up here? I want to see this movie. I made a point. I want to see this.
It is
I want to see how bad it is. The whole thing with the mall scene. I want to bring that up. I'm taking it that the mall scene is Diana Prince, Wonder Woman kicking bad guy butt, right?
Kinda, yeah.
I'm hoping that's all it is. Okay, I'm because that's sort of what we want to see with Wonder Woman. She's like one of the 3 big in the DC universe, right? I want to see her kicking bad guy butt. I feel like they're not letting us see that. Okay,
do you really want to see Superman? Okay, let's take it out of Wonder Woman. Do you really want to see Superman stopping a robbery in a mall? Okay, I mean, this is not the opening of your second film. Okay, this is a little 30-second bit within a montage in Superman. We saw save the cat. We saw him stop the guys robbing the bank by bringing the whole boat in and dropping it in front of the
burglar falling off the building. He catches
burglar
him.
falling off. And this was not this long drawn out mall shot. So the fact that they did this with Wonder Woman is ridiculous to begin with. I don't know. And then, people are joking because, all they're doing is they're robbing, a mall, and one of them decides to grab a kid and hold the kid at gunpoint. I'm not going back to prison. I'm not going back to prison. So Wonder Woman's got to save the kid. And everybody's reaction is like terrible B film. Oh my gosh, that poor girl. Oh no, what are you doing? It's like, oh gosh. It's just terrible. And there is no excuse for this. There is no excuse for something that has been sitting on a shelf for a year. You should have been. The fact that the editing sucks and everyone's talking about the editing. Editing is not something where you need a bunch of people to be together during COVID. You know, this is why have you not been working on this over the past year? This should be tight, and it's not.
It's like you have a term paper due for a class, and then the teacher's out sick that week, and you get a whole other week to work on it, and you don't touch it.
Right.
Okay. Anyway.
And the teacher is going to think about that when she's doing the grading. And she's like, you had twice as long as you should have had. And this is what you give me? No.
Yeah. Auto Dread says, I do get a kick out of bad movies. He mentions Halle Berry's Catwoman. I need to see that.
No, you really don't.
I think I do. That Sharon Stone's the villain in that too, right? Okay.
It's not worth it. Oh, no. Sharon Stone and Halle Berry both do much better movies where you can see much more of them. Okay. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, we'll, yeah.
I remember when a buddy of mine at work told me that when it first came out, he said, yeah, I downloaded the film to watch it. Yeah, it wasn't worth the bandwidth. And I've never forgotten that line. I've used that many times since. It was not worth the bandwidth to download it.
The Catwoman, okay.
That's bad.
So it was no Swordfish, okay. All right.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. If you want to see Halle Berry, go see Swordfish. You want to see Sharon Stone see what was that movie?
Basic Instinct?
Basic Instinct. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.